Here's the truth no one really talks about. Being a highly attractive man has little to do with your looks or how much money you have. It's about something deeper, something quieter. It's how you carry yourself, how you respond under pressure, and how solid you are when the world gets loud. You don't need to shout to be noticed. Real attraction is subtle. It's the way you walk into a room and stay grounded. It's your silence that holds weight. It's your ability to lead yourself without needing approval from anyone else. Being attractive isn't about chasing attention. It's about commanding respect by simply being yourself, calm, confident, and unshaken. That's the Stoic edge most men overlook. In this video, I'm going to show you 11 signs that you're not just attractive, you're magnetic. These are the signs of a man who doesn't beg to be seen, he simply is seen. And the best part, these traits are completely in your control. So, if you're becoming the kind of man who lives with purpose, who doesn't flinch in the face of chaos, and who owns his presence without saying a word, this video is for you. Let's get into it. Sign 1. You're comfortable in silence. In a world that constantly bombards us with noise, notifications, conversations, the never-ending scroll of social media, a man who is comfortable in silence stands out like a lighthouse. In this storm, this quiet presence isn't awkward, it isn't empty, it's powerful, it's magnetic. And in many cases, it's the first clear sign of a highly attractive man. Let's start by understanding why silence is so powerful. Most people feel uncomfortable in silence. It's almost as if they need to fill the void with noise, chatter, or nervous laughter. But an attractive man, especially one grounded in Stoic philosophy, doesn't view silence as a void to be filled. He views it as a space for clarity, a moment to process, and a signal of self-control. When a man can sit in a room, at a dinner table, or even with a woman and not feel pressured to speak just to keep things going, it shows he's not insecure about his presence. That, right there, is extremely attractive. Being comfortable in silence reveals a deep inner security. It shows that you don't need external validation to feel whole. You're not seeking attention or trying to impress anyone. With small talk, you're okay just being. And here's where the Stoic mindset enters the conversation. The Stoics taught that true strength lies in self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." When you're silent, you're not trying to perform. You're not seeking approval. You're rooted in your own world. That level of peace and presence is something people subconsciously pick up on, and it draws them in. Now let's talk about how this plays out in daily life. Picture this. You're in a meeting and tensions are high. Everyone's talking over each other. There's noise, chaos, energy bouncing off the walls. But you're composed. You observe. You speak only when necessary. Your words are precise. You don't speak to hear your own voice. You speak to contribute. People will notice. They may not say it out loud, but they'll think, this guy has control. He doesn't panic. He's centered. Or imagine you're on a date. There's a moment of silence. Most guys would feel the need to jump in, crack a joke, talk about the weather, say anything, but you just smile, sip your drink, and let the silence linger. You hold her gaze, confident. That moment, where she realizes you're not rushing to impress her, might be the exact moment she starts to lean in emotionally. That's stillness, that's presence, that's power. But this doesn't mean you're cold or distant. Quite the opposite. Being comfortable in silence means you listen better, you observe more, you pick up on the energy in the room. You become deeply aware, which is another trait of highly attractive men. You don't just hear, you perceive. You're not lost in your own thoughts or trying to think of what to say next. You're present. There's also a practical side to this. Men who are comfortable in silence don't overshare. They're mysterious. That's not a game. It's a natural result of being selective with your words. You don't need everyone to know everything about you. You reveal your world in layers. And that mystery, that's magnetic. On the flip side, when a man talks too much, over-explains, or seeks constant reassurance in conversation, it signals insecurity. Silence, when used with self-assuredness, is a sign of control. It says, I don't need to fill space, I'm enough as I am. To cultivate this kind of silence, practice mindfulness. Observe your tendency to fill quiet moments. Ask yourself, am I speaking because I have something valuable to say, or because I'm uncomfortable with stillness? Start meditating. Daily, even if just for 5 minutes. Get used to sitting with your thoughts. Practice eye contact without saying a word. Embrace the pauses in conversation. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. In time, you'll find that silence isn't empty. It's full of awareness, and that awareness is deeply attractive. So remember this. When you are at peace with your own silence, you command respect without ever raising your voice. That, my friend, is the mark of a highly attractive man. Sign 2, you're purpose-driven. A man with purpose is a man in motion. He may not have all the answers, but he wakes up every day with a sense of direction. This is one of the most powerful traits of a highly attractive man, and especially of a Stoic man. Purpose creates presence. It builds momentum. It turns you into a force of nature that others naturally gravitate toward. In a world where many drift aimlessly, a man with a strong sense of why stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. People notice, women notice, not because you're flashy or loud, but because you move with intention, and that is rare. Let's unpack what being purpose-driven really means. At its core, purpose is your internal compass. It's not just about career or money. It's about knowing what you stand for, where you're going, and why you're moving in that direction. When you carry yourself with that level of clarity, your energy shifts. You become less reactive, less needy, and more focused. You stop wasting time chasing distractions or seeking validation. You don't try to impress everyone because your eyes are already locked on a bigger vision. This is Stoicism in action. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." A purpose-driven man doesn't need applause. He needs alignment. He wakes up with priorities. He chooses his battles. He understands that time is limited, so he moves with urgency and discipline. Now, here's what most people miss. You don't have to be rich or wildly successful to be purpose-driven. Purpose isn't about results, it's about direction. Are you becoming stronger than you were yesterday? Are you chasing a mission that means something to you? If the answer is yes, you're already walking the path of the attractive man. There's a unique confidence that comes from knowing where you're headed. When you sit in a room, people sense that you're not easily swayed. You're not chasing trends. You're not interested in every new distraction. Your purpose anchors you. And anchoring is attractive. It communicates strength without words. Let's talk about how this looks in daily life. A man with purpose doesn't just go to work. He builds. He doesn't date just to fill time. He connects with intention. He doesn't talk just to be heard. He speaks with direction. This clarity of action is what makes him stand out. Others might procrastinate or drift, but not him. He's building something, and even if the world doesn't see it yet, he sees it, and that's enough. This also makes you emotionally attractive. Why? Because you're not placing your sense of worth on external things, especially not relationships. You're not waiting for someone else to complete you. You're building yourself. That's the kind of man who doesn't chase love out of neediness. He attracts it through abundance. Women are deeply drawn to men who are going somewhere. Not just financially or professionally, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. A woman feels secure and inspired when she's with a man. who is actively becoming, not a man who's perfect, a man who's in progress with a clear sense of mission. There's also an energy shift that happens when you're focused. You walk differently, you speak with more weight, your eyes stay sharp, you're not easily rattled by rejection or chaos because your mind is rooted in a longer-term vision. People will feel that from you before you even say a word. And here's the powerful part. Your purpose doesn't need to be huge or world-changing. It just needs to be true. Maybe you want to master a skill, build a business, create art, raise a family. With intention, inspire your community. Whatever it is, if you own it, protect it, and commit to it daily, people will feel the gravity of your presence. To cultivate this, get quiet with yourself. Ask, what do I value? What do I want my life to stand for? What's one thing I can move toward daily that will make me proud of the man I'm becoming? Then simplify your life to protect that direction. Remove distractions, set goals, get disciplined. Being purpose-driven is not a temporary mindset. It's a way of life. It's how you show up in every room. It's the fire behind your eyes, the calm behind your silence, the focus behind your choices. And when you live with that kind of purpose, you don't just become attractive, you become unforgettable. Sign 3. You don't seek validation. If there's one trait that separates truly attractive men from the crowd, it's this: they don't seek validation. They don't need constant approval. They don't live for applause. Their confidence is self-sourced, and that makes them magnetic. In the eyes of Stoicism, this quality isn't just attractive, it's essential to personal freedom. Let's break it down. In today's world, we're trained, almost programmed, to chase validation. Social media likes, compliments, follower counts, job titles, flashy clothes. Everything is designed to tell the world, hey, look at me, approve of me, tell me I'm enough. But the moment you need external validation to feel worthy, you give away your power. A highly attractive man doesn't play that game. Instead, he understands that approval is a byproduct, not a pursuit. He validates himself. He knows his worth, not because someone told him, but because he's earned it through self-awareness, discipline, and quiet work. Whether the world notices or not, he keeps showing up, keeps building, keeps evolving. That inner grounding, that's what makes people stop and stare. From a Stoic perspective, this is mastery of the self. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. External validation? It lies completely outside your control. You can't dictate how others see you, but you can dictate how you see yourself. Let's talk about how this looks in real life. Imagine a man who walks into a room and doesn't try to dominate the conversation. He doesn't fish for compliments. He doesn't need to prove he's smart, rich or funny. He's just present, calm, unbothered. He's not cold, he's just not needy. That presence alone is more attractive than the loudest guy in the room trying to be noticed. Now flip the scenario. A man who constantly brags, over-explains, or seeks reassurance is signaling a deeper insecurity. He may think he's being confident, but people can sense when someone is performing. And the truth is, the moment you need someone to like you, you've already lost control of the interaction. One of the most powerful things you can do as a man is walk away from anything that requires you to abandon your authenticity for approval. That includes friendships, jobs, relationships, even family expectations. Attractive men know that self-respect, social approval, every time. In relationships, this quality becomes even more powerful. Women are biologically wired to test boundaries, not out of manipulation, but out of instinct. They want to know, is this man grounded? Can he lead himself? Will he stand firm when challenged? A man who constantly bends, changes, or seeks her approval loses respect, even if she likes him on the surface. But a man who is calm, self-validating, and unbothered by minor emotional waves. He becomes a safe harbor. He becomes someone she can trust, not just emotionally, but spiritually. She sees that he doesn't chase her attention, and ironically, that makes her give it more freely. The same applies in business. When you stop chasing approval, you make better decisions. You stop trying to please everyone. You speak more directly, you set clearer boundaries. People respect you more because they know you're not trying to impress them, you're just being you. Now let's be clear, not seeking validation doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive. It means being whole. You can still appreciate compliments without needing them. You can take feedback without letting it define your worth. It's not about rejecting others, it's about centering yourself. So how do you develop this? Start by identifying where in your life you're craving validation. Is it in your looks, your career, social media, relationships? Then ask, what would it look like to validate myself in this area instead of outsourcing my worth? Create internal standards. Do you want to be fit? Good. Do it because it aligns with your values, not to be admired. Practice solitude. Get comfortable being unseen, unnoticed, and uncelebrated for a while. In that space, you'll discover who you really are. The less you rely on external noise, the stronger your inner voice becomes. Remember, the most attractive man in any room is the one who doesn't need to be liked to feel powerful. His worth isn't up for debate. He knows who he is. He knows what he stands for. And whether he's applauded or criticized, he stays the course. So if you want to become undeniably attractive, learn to stop chasing validation. Validate yourself, live by your own values, and let the world catch up. Sign 4. You command respect. Without demanding it, one of the clearest signs of a highly attractive man is that he commands respect without ever needing to demand it. He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't flex his muscles, he doesn't beg for attention or bark out orders, and yet people listen when he speaks. They watch when he moves. They naturally lean in, not because he forces them to, but because there's something undeniable about his presence. This isn't about intimidation or aggression. It's about authentic power, the kind that doesn't need validation or noise to be felt. Let's break this down. When a man is rooted in his values, consistent in his behavior, and emotionally grounded, people naturally respect him. Why? Because most people aren't. Most people are scattered, reactive, easily influenced. So when someone comes along who is centered, composed, and intentional, they stand out immediately. A man like this doesn't have to chase approval or force his authority. His actions speak for themselves. His self-respect is so clear that others instinctively mirror it back to him. That's what it means to command respect. It comes to you, unforced, because of how you carry yourself. Now here's what this doesn't mean. It doesn't mean being passive or silent. It doesn't mean allowing others to walk all over you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. A man who commands respect sets clear boundaries. He doesn't tolerate disrespect, but he also doesn't overreact when it happens. He responds with a calm authority, not emotional chaos. In a Stoic sense, this is pure discipline. It's the ability to maintain control over your mind and emotions, even when the world around you is losing its balance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And that strength, that's where respect is born." Let's look at this in real life. Picture two men in a disagreement. One is loud, defensive, constantly interrupting to assert himself. The other is calm, listens fully, and speaks clearly and decisively. Which man do you respect more? Probably the second one. Why? Because he's not desperate to win. He's not proving anything. He knows who he is, and that kind of self-possession demands attention without ever asking for it. Women notice this too. A man who commands respect without demanding it is incredibly attractive. He doesn't need to prove he's the alpha. He doesn't chase, beg, or pressure. He simply leads with his behavior, with his energy, with his mindset. He respects himself, and that becomes the standard for how others treat him. In relationships, this makes him trustworthy. He's not ruled by ego or fear. He knows how to hold space for emotion without getting consumed by it. He listens without losing himself. He leads without overpowering. And when he draws a line, it's not for control, it's for clarity. That calm, steady presence makes others feel safe, seen, and steady in return. This principle applies to leadership too. Great. Leaders don't demand loyalty, they earn it. Through consistency, through empathy, through courage. When you walk into a room and people respect you before you've said a word, it's usually because you've cultivated an energy of reliability, integrity, and quiet power. So how do you develop this trait? Start with your integrity. Do what you say you'll do. Show up on time, keep your word, follow through on commitments, even when it's inconvenient. People respect consistency more than charisma. Second, master your emotions. This doesn't mean being robotic, it means being sovereign over your reactions. If someone disrespects you, don't lose control. Hold your frame, speak with clarity, and walk away if needed. The less reactive you are, the more powerful you appear. Third, be purposeful in your words and actions. Stop explaining yourself endlessly. Speak when necessary. Move with intention. Make people lean in, not tune out. And finally, respect yourself deeply. How you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. If you tolerate being disrespected, ignored, or walked over, you're teaching others to do the same. But if you carry yourself with quiet strength and unshakable standards, people can't help but meet you at that level or move out of the way. Remember this, you don't need to prove that you're worthy of respect. You just need to become a man who respects himself so completely that respect becomes the only language others can speak around you. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. So stop demanding, start commanding through presence, through discipline, through the silent authority that speaks louder than words ever could. Sign 5. You exhibit emotional control in every situation. Emotional control isn't just a sign of maturity. It's a deep signal of strength, discipline, and self-mastery. And when a man can maintain his composure, even under pressure, people take notice. That kind of calm presence is rare, and rare is attractive. In Stoicism, this is one of the highest virtues, the ability to govern your emotions rather than be ruled by them. As Seneca said, he who is brave is free. And what's bravery if not staying centered when everything around you is shaking? Highly attractive men don't overreact. They don't explode at small things. They don't crumble under stress. They might feel anger, sadness, or frustration because they're human, but they don't allow those feelings to dictate their actions. Instead, they observe, they pause, and then they respond with intention. Let's look at why this is so powerful. In a world full of emotional volatility, the man who remains stable becomes the anchor. He becomes the person people rely on when things get messy, and in a very primal way, that makes him incredibly attractive. Others see in him the ability to handle life, and by extension, to handle relationships, conflict, pressure, and chaos. Now, this doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. That's not strength, that's denial. True emotional control is acknowledging what you feel, understanding it, and then choosing how to respond. It's not bottling up rage, it's transforming that energy into decisive, grounded action. It's not pretending everything's okay when it's not. It's calmly addressing problems without falling apart. So what does this look like in real life? Let's say someone insults you. A man without emotional control lashes out. He becomes reactive. He might raise his voice, throw insults back, or even get physical. But a man with emotional control, he doesn't flinch. He sees the insult for what it is, an emotional outburst from someone else, and refuses to mirror it. He might respond with calm words or choose to walk away entirely. Either way, he maintains his power. Or imagine being in a high-pressure situation, at work, in a relationship, or facing a crisis. While others panic, a man with emotional control slows things down. He takes a breath. He assesses the situation. And then he acts, not out of fear, but out of clarity. That kind of energy changes the room. It creates trust, stability, and leadership. In relationships, emotional control is absolutely vital. When you can hold space for your partner's emotions without getting overwhelmed by them, you become a safe place. When she cries, vents, or challenges you, and you don't react with anger or withdrawal, she feels secure. And when she sees that her emotions don't rattle you, she respects you even more. That doesn't mean you never feel things. It means your emotions don't own you. You own them, and when you do this consistently, something amazing happens. People begin to trust your leadership. They see you as someone who won't crumble when life gets tough. Someone who can weather storms, not just for yourself, but for others. And that, my friend, is magnetic. Now here's how to develop this. First, practice mindful awareness. When emotions rise, pause. Don't react immediately. Observe what's happening in your body. Label the emotion, anger, fear, embarrassment, and then give yourself a few seconds to breathe before speaking or acting. This small delay is where power lives. Second, journal. Write about your emotions, especially the ones you struggle with. Putting your feelings into words helps you understand them better, and that understanding leads to control. Third, challenge your triggers. What sets you off? Traffic, criticism, being ignored. Whatever it is, use those moments as training grounds. Instead of reacting the usual way, try something different. Smile, stay silent, respond calmly. You'll notice that the more you resist reacting, the more your power grows. Fourth, build your physical discipline. When you train your body through fitness, cold exposure, fasting, or even breath work, you also train your emotional resilience. Stoics believed in voluntary hardship for this very reason. A strong body supports a strong mind. And finally, surround yourself with calm energy. If you're always around reactive, chaotic people, it's harder to stay grounded. But when you're in environments that promote calm, clarity, and self-respect, emotional control becomes a natural habit. Here's the bottom line. You don't control the world. You don't control other people. But you do control yourself. And when you master that, when you can stay calm in the storm, you become unshakable. People feel that. They're drawn to it, and they respect it. So if you want to be a man who stands out in a world of emotional turbulence, practice control. Feel everything, react to nothing, and respond only when your heart and mind are aligned. That's stoic, that's strong, and that's highly attractive. Sign 6. You carry yourself with purpose and direction. A highly attractive man isn't just drifting through life. He moves with purpose. He walks with intent, speaks with clarity, and acts like he knows exactly where he's going, even if he hasn't arrived yet. And that's magnetic, because a man with direction doesn't just attract people, he inspires them. You see, in the Stoic worldview, life is short, time is precious, so the man who uses his time intentionally is already doing what most never will. He's not waiting for the perfect moment. He's not wasting time on things that drain him. He's focused, he's building, he's becoming. Now, let's be clear. Having purpose doesn't mean you have every detail figured out. It means you have a compass, not a map. It means you know your why, and that why fuels your choices. Whether it's becoming stronger, wiser, wealthier, or more useful to the world, you're not sitting still. You're evolving. That energy is deeply attractive because most people are lost. Most people are chasing approval, attention, trends. But when you show up with a mission, even a quiet one, you stand out. You show that you're living for something greater than instant gratification, and that instantly sets you apart. So what does this look like in everyday life? It starts with how you move. Purposeful men don't wander. They walk with direction, even in the smallest things. They don't slouch through the grocery store or scroll through life on autopilot. They look people in the eye. They speak like they mean what they say. Their body language says, "I'm here for something." That confidence speaks louder than words. Then there's how you use your time. A man with purpose isn't just binge-watching, scrolling, or complaining. He's reading, building, training, learning. He's not perfect, but he's intentional. Even in his downtime, he's refueling with something that adds to his growth, not just distracts from his boredom. And women? They notice. A man with a mission doesn't need to chase women. He naturally attracts them. Why? Because his life is full already. He doesn't need someone to fill a void. He wants someone to share the overflow. That distinction makes all the difference. When a man is building something, whether it's a business, a legacy, or a deeper sense of self, he doesn't get lost in drama. He stays grounded, focused, reliable. In relationships, this makes you a leader, not a dictator, but a guide. Someone who's not just reactive, but proactive. Someone who can set the tone, make the plans, and create momentum in the relationship. That kind of leadership doesn't dominate, it liberates. And that's deeply attractive to the right kind of partner. Even in hard times, purpose holds you steady. When life hits you, because it will, it's your mission that keeps you going. Without it, you drift. With it, you adapt. You become unbreakable. That resilience, that refusal to quit, that's what people admire. That's what makes them want to follow you, work with you, or love you. Now, how do you develop this kind of direction? Start with self-reflection. Ask yourself, what do I want to build? What do I want to be remembered for? What kind of man am I becoming? Even if the answers aren't clear, the act of asking these questions awakens something powerful. Then take action. Don't wait for clarity to take the first step. Clarity comes from movement, not just thought. Choose a skill, choose a goal, choose a challenge. Start, adjust as you go. The man who walks with purpose doesn't wait for certainty. He creates it through consistent motion. Also, learn to say no. Purpose requires boundaries. You can't do everything and you don't have to. Say no to distractions. Say no to people who drain you. Say no to habits that steal your energy. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your path. And finally, align your actions with your values. It's not just about setting goals, it's about becoming someone you respect. If you value strength, train your body. If you value wisdom, read and reflect. If you value impact, serve others. That alignment creates inner peace, and that peace radiates outward. So here's the truth. A man with purpose doesn't beg for respect. He earns it through consistency, vision, and discipline. He doesn't chase approval. He moves in silence, and results speak for him. He doesn't need to be loud. His focus does the talking. That's the kind of man people admire. That's the kind of man others follow. And that's the kind of man that's undeniably attractive. So walk with purpose. Live with vision. And remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Sign 7. You know how to listen deeply without interrupting in a noisy world where everyone is trying to be. Heard the man who listens, truly listens, is a rarity, and that rarity makes him magnetic, because while others are talking over each other, trying to impress, the highly attractive man listens with intention, with patience, with presence. Let's be honest, most people don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. They're already preparing their comeback while the other person is still speaking. But a man grounded in Stoicism doesn't need to dominate the conversation. He knows that silence is powerful, that presence is persuasive, that true attention is a form of respect. And here's the truth. Deep listening is attractive because it makes people feel seen, heard, and valued. In relationships, friendships, and even in business, this is a superpower. When you give someone your full attention without interrupting, without rushing to speak, you create a space that feels rare and safe. That space is where connection grows. Let's connect this with Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us to observe before we act. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth." But how do you find truth? Through listening to others, to life, and to your own inner thoughts. Listening is a discipline, a virtue, a reflection of wisdom. So why is this trait so attractive? Because it shows maturity. The man who listens deeply isn't trying to impress. He doesn't need to. His attention is the gift. And it says more about him than any clever words ever could. It says, "I am confident enough to be quiet. I value what you're saying. I'm not in a hurry to prove anything." Think about how rare that is. Imagine you're speaking to someone and they don't interrupt you once. They maintain gentle eye contact. They nod thoughtfully. They ask follow-up questions that show they're not just hearing you, they're absorbing your words. That kind of presence makes you feel important. And in that moment, you're drawn to them, not because they talked a lot, but because they listened well. This is especially important in romantic relationships. Many men try to impress women by dominating the conversation, talking about their achievements or opinions. But the man who simply listens, who makes her feel like her words matter, that man stands out. Because he's not just trying to win her attention. He's earning her trust, and listening isn't passive, it's active. You're engaged. You're reflecting, you're mentally tracking what's being said, you're responding with thoughtful pauses, with questions that go deeper. And most importantly, you're not trying to fix everything, you're just holding space. Now let's talk about how to master this. Step 1, slow down, don't rush to respond. When someone speaks, give them the room to finish completely. Practice pausing for a beat or two before you speak. This shows you're processing what was said, not just reacting. Step 2, eliminate distractions. Put your phone away, turn off notifications, look the person in the eyes. Show them, through your body language, that you are present, that they have your full attention. Step 3, ask better questions. When someone shares something, ask questions that explore their thoughts more deeply. Don't just say, "Yeah," or "I get that." Say, "What was that like for you?" Or "How did that make you feel?" This kind of response shows depth and emotional intelligence. And here's a bonus. When you listen well, people trust you more. They feel safe with you. They open up. They seek your presence. And in a world full of loud egos and shallow conversations, your depth becomes unforgettable. So what's the bottom line? If you want to be a highly attractive man, learn the art of deep listening. Don't interrupt, don't dominate, don't chase approval through words. Be the man who creates space, who pays attention, who listens like it matters because it does. That's confidence without arrogance, power without volume, strength without force, and in a world starved for connection, that kind of presence makes you unforgettable. Sign 8. You radiate confidence. Without arrogance, there's a quiet power in the man who knows who he is and doesn't need to broadcast it. He doesn't puff up his chest. He doesn't chase validation. He simply is. That's real confidence. And when you radiate that kind of presence, without crossing into arrogance, people can feel it, and they're drawn to it, naturally. Let's break it down. Confidence is rooted in self-awareness. Arrogance is rooted in insecurity. A confident man doesn't need to tear others down to feel powerful, because his sense of worth comes from within. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, and he's okay with both. The Stoics had this figured out long ago. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In other words, the truly wise man remains humble. He's grounded. He doesn't need to prove himself because his actions already speak for him. Confidence, without arrogance, shows up in the little things. It's in how you walk into a room. Do you need everyone to notice you? Or do you carry yourself with calm assurance, knowing your energy speaks before you do? The highly attractive man doesn't need to be the loudest. His presence already commands attention. Without force, it's in how you speak. A confident man doesn't rush to fill silence. He's not constantly justifying his thoughts or trying to sound smart. He speaks when he has something meaningful to say, and when he does speak, people listen because he speaks with clarity, not ego. It's in how you handle praise. When someone compliments you, do you brag in return, or do you accept it with grace and humility? Confident men don't downplay themselves, but they also don't seek applause. They don't live for attention. They live in alignment with their values. But what makes this so attractive? It's simple. People crave authenticity, and nothing is more authentic than a man who is rooted in himself. He doesn't fake it. He doesn't try to be someone he's not. He's real, and that realness is rare and incredibly appealing. This kind of confidence also creates safety. People feel at ease around a man who isn't competing, posturing, or trying to impress. They feel safe to be themselves. And in relationships, that's powerful. Because the confident man creates space for others to shine, not just himself. Let's look at how to cultivate this type of presence. Do the inner work. You can't fake real confidence. You earn it by showing up for yourself day after day. You build it by facing your fears, learning from your failures, and owning your progress. That inner self-trust. That's the foundation of quiet strength. Detach from the need to prove. The moment you stop trying to look confident and start focusing on simply being present, everything changes. You become less concerned with how others see you and more focused on how you show up in your values. Embrace humility. Confidence is not thinking you're better than everyone. It's knowing you don't have to be. Humility doesn't mean shrinking. It means staying teachable. It means recognizing that you don't need to dominate to be worthy of respect. Control your emotions. The confident man doesn't react impulsively. He's composed, measured, not because he's emotionless, but because he's mastered his impulses. That emotional discipline, that's true strength, and it shows up in how he handles criticism, rejection, or even conflict with calm instead of chaos. Respect others. The arrogant man talks over people. The confident man listens. He acknowledges others without making everything about himself. That respect builds trust. It makes you a leader, not just a loud voice in the room. Let your actions speak. You don't have to say you're confident. Show it through consistency, through follow-through, through how you treat people when no one is watching. That quiet. Consistency is more attractive than 100 declarations. Remember, arrogance repels. Confidence attracts. Why? Because one says, "Look at me, I'm better than you." The other says, "I know who I am and I respect who you are." That second one, that's what makes people lean in. That's what builds real influence. That's what earns admiration without having to beg for it. So here's the bottom line. If you want to radiate confidence without arrogance, don't chase attention. Master yourself. Walk in your truth. Speak with intention. Act with purpose. And let the results speak louder than your words, because the most attractive man in the room is the one who doesn't need to prove a thing. He just is. Sign 9. You stay calm. Under pressure, the world is full of chaos, deadlines, unexpected twists, and difficult conversations. In the midst of it all, there is one trait that separates the highly attractive man from the crowd: the ability to remain calm under pressure. Whether you're handling a stressful work situation, navigating a tense argument, or managing a crisis, your ability to stay composed is not just a sign of strength, it's a sign of wisdom. In a world that thrives on anxiety and hurry, being able to stay centered gives you an immense advantage. It's the kind of calm that not only puts your mind at ease, but also reassures everyone around you. People notice this. People respect it. Let's unpack why this ability is so attractive and how it connects to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics were masters of emotional resilience. They taught us to respond, not react. They believed that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, your ability to remain calm in the face of pressure shows the strength of your character. A man who remains calm under pressure exudes an aura of self-control. When everyone else is losing their head, he remains the steady anchor. And that stability is incredibly attractive. It communicates that he is trustworthy, someone you can rely on when things go wrong. This is a man who doesn't flinch at adversity. He stands tall, ready to assess, adapt, and act when necessary. So why is calmness such an attractive trait? Emotional maturity. In a world full of knee-jerk reactions and dramatic outbursts, a calm man shows emotional maturity. He doesn't let emotions dictate his actions. Whether it's a heated discussion or a tight deadline, he doesn't allow stress to cloud his judgment. He knows that being able to pause, reflect, and choose his response is the path to clarity. Leadership under pressure. In stressful situations, leaders emerge, and a man who can stay calm in a crisis naturally steps into the role of a leader. Why? Because others are looking for someone to guide them, and the calm man provides the reassurance they need. He takes charge without being frantic. He leads with confidence, not panic. And that's magnetic. Now let's talk about how to cultivate calmness under pressure. Practice mindfulness. Calmness is a learned skill. It requires self-awareness and presence. Mindfulness practices like meditation, breathing exercises, or even just pausing to collect your thoughts before responding help you center yourself in moments of stress. The more you practice mindfulness, the more automatic your calm response becomes. Your mind becomes a calm lake instead of a turbulent sea. Focus on what you can control. There's always something in every situation you can control. The chaos around you, that's often out of your hands, but your response, that's in your hands. Focusing on what you can control helps you feel less helpless and more capable. It allows you to take purposeful action, not reactive action. Embrace discomfort. Many people run from pressure. They avoid stressful situations. But the calm man understands that pressure is inevitable. He doesn't shy away from it. He leans into it. He uses it as an opportunity to sharpen his mind and strengthen his emotional resilience. The more you expose yourself to discomfort and stress, the more you build your tolerance for it. Practice perspective. When things start to feel overwhelming, step back and gain perspective. Ask yourself, is this as big as I think it is? Often, stress comes from exaggerated thoughts about the importance of the situation. By reminding yourself that many things are temporary or not as urgent as they seem, you create the mental space to stay calm. Deep breathing. The simplest yet most effective way to regain control in a moment of pressure is to breathe. A deep, slow breath signals to your body that you are safe, and it helps reset your nervous system. In stressful moments, taking a few moments to inhale deeply, hold and exhale slowly can quickly restore your sense of calm. Let's apply this to a real-world example. Imagine you're in a business meeting where the stakes are high. Everyone else is stressed. Some people are raising their voices, and the pressure is mounting. What do? Do you join the chaos, or do you maintain your composure and lead by example? The attractive man does the latter. He remains calm, gathers his thoughts, and provides a solution. This not only solves the problem at hand, but also earns him the respect of those around him. The ability to stay calm under pressure is also highly attractive in relationships. In a disagreement with a partner or during a stressful family event, your calmness allows you to navigate through tension without escalating it. You create a safe space for resolution and understanding, which ultimately strengthens bonds. In conclusion, staying calm under pressure isn't just about keeping your cool. It's about showing that you have control over your emotions and thoughts. It's about being the anchor in the storm. And in a world that's constantly moving at a breakneck pace, being that steady presence is a rare, powerful quality that draws people to you. Are you ready to embrace the calm? Sign 10. You know how to be vulnerable. When necessary, in a world that often equates vulnerability with weakness, the highly attractive man knows the power that vulnerability holds. He is not afraid to show his emotions, his struggles, or his imperfections, but he does so in a way that is measured, thoughtful, and aligned with his values. Vulnerability is not about oversharing or being emotionally reckless. It's about showing up as your authentic self, without pretending to be someone you're not. And this authenticity is what makes you magnetic to others. This concept is often misunderstood. Vulnerability is not about being fragile or opening yourself to hurt without boundaries. It's about having the strength to be open and honest, to share your true feelings, and to connect with others on a deeper level. It's about finding the courage to let down your guard without losing your sense of self. The Stoics understood vulnerability as an opportunity for growth. They believed in embracing discomfort, not avoiding it. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This quote speaks to the idea that our time here is precious, and part of that time should be spent being true to ourselves and connecting meaningfully with others. Being vulnerable requires emotional intelligence. It means knowing when and how to open up without letting your emotions control you. A vulnerable man is emotionally available, not just for himself, but for others as well. This openness creates a deep sense of empathy, which is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create the space for others to do the same, fostering genuine connections. But why is this level of vulnerability so attractive? Authenticity breeds trust. The truly attractive man doesn't hide behind a facade. He's not pretending to be someone he's not. When you are honest about your feelings and experiences, people can trust you. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional. And when you're authentic, people feel they can rely on you because you're not afraid to be real. It shows strength, not weakness. Vulnerability is often mistakenly seen as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it requires a great deal of strength to open yourself up to others. It takes courage to let down your guard and be transparent. This is where vulnerability becomes incredibly attractive. It's a form of strength. You're not afraid of your emotions. You don't see them as something to hide, but something to embrace. And that takes emotional maturity. It deepens emotional connection. When you show vulnerability, you open the door for others to connect with you on a deeper level. Vulnerability creates empathy, and empathy builds stronger bonds. People are drawn to those who can be real with them, share their struggles, and connect emotionally. A man who is willing to be vulnerable invites others to be vulnerable too, which leads to a greater sense of intimacy and trust. It makes you relatable. The highly attractive man doesn't try to be perfect. He knows that everyone has their struggles. By allowing himself to be vulnerable, he shows that he is human, just like everyone else, and that relatability makes him more approachable. It allows people to see themselves in him, creating a deeper connection. This isn't about weakness, it's about showing that you're not above others, but alongside them. Now let's talk about how to embrace vulnerability in a healthy, attractive way. Be selective about when to open up. Vulnerability doesn't mean sharing every emotion or thought that comes to mind. It's about knowing when and how to express your true feelings. The attractive man doesn't overshare with everyone. He understands that vulnerability is a tool to deepen relationships, not to seek attention or sympathy. He chooses moments when sharing is meaningful and appropriate, whether with a close friend, partner, or in a moment of professional honesty. Cultivate emotional self-awareness. Vulnerability isn't just about sharing your emotions. It's about understanding them first. The attractive man knows how to recognize and process his emotions. This emotional self-awareness allows him to express his vulnerability in a way that is grounded and purposeful, not reactive. When you understand your emotions, you can share them with others in a calm and controlled manner. Set healthy boundaries. Being vulnerable doesn't mean opening up to everyone about everything. It's important to maintain boundaries around what is shared and with whom. The attractive man understands that vulnerability is most powerful in the right context. He's not afraid to protect himself when necessary, and he knows when to hold back. Setting boundaries allows you to stay in control of your vulnerability rather than letting it become a source of emotional overwhelm. Show vulnerability through action. Sometimes vulnerability isn't about words, it's about actions. It's about showing up in situations where others might hide. It's about admitting your mistakes, apologizing when necessary, and taking responsibility for your actions. Vulnerability through action creates trust and shows integrity. It's not about being perfect, but about being honest, even when it's difficult. In conclusion, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful tool for connection and growth. The highly attractive man knows when and how to be vulnerable in a way that fosters trust, deepens relationships, and demonstrates emotional strength. It takes courage to show up as your authentic self, but when you do, you invite others to do the same. And that authenticity is what makes you truly magnetic. Sign 11. You are consistent and reliable. One of the most powerful traits that makes a man highly attractive is his consistency and reliability. While many people may falter in their commitments or fail to follow through on promises, the highly attractive man stands out because he can always be counted on. He is a person whose word is his bond, whose actions match his intentions, and who consistently shows up no matter the situation. In a world that is full of distractions and uncertainty, being someone others can rely on is incredibly rare. In fact, it is often considered a form of personal strength. Why? Because it shows integrity, discipline, and respect for others. When a man is consistent and reliable, he earns the trust and admiration of those around him. Let's take a deeper look at why consistency and reliability are so attractive and how they align with the principles of Stoicism. The Stoics taught the importance of living with purpose and integrity. They believed that true strength comes not from grand gestures, but from showing up day after day, doing what needs to be done, and fulfilling your duties without fanfare. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This quote reflects the Stoic belief that true character is demonstrated through consistent action. The highly attractive man is the one who walks the walk every single day. Consistency builds. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional. Without it, relationships struggle to thrive. Being consistent and reliable helps to build trust over time. When you follow through on your promises, meet deadlines, and act with integrity, people learn they can rely on you. They know that when you say you'll do something, you'll actually do it. Trust is incredibly attractive because it creates a sense of safety and stability. The more reliable you are, the more others can depend on you for support, advice, or help in difficult times. This consistency signals to others that you are someone they can count on in both the small and big moments of life. It shows emotional maturity. Consistent behavior isn't about perfection, it's about emotional maturity. The attractive man understands that life will always be full of ups and downs, but he's still able to show up and do his part. Whether he's dealing with personal challenges, a demanding work schedule, or the stress of relationships, he doesn't let external circumstances cause him to abandon his commitments. The attractive man doesn't allow his emotions or outside pressures to dictate his actions. He is not swayed by temporary feelings or external events. He remains calm and consistent in his approach, which shows self-discipline and emotional regulation. This level of emotional maturity is deeply attractive because it demonstrates reliability, not just in actions, but in the ability to stay steady no matter what. It fosters respect. People respect consistency because it's a rare trait. In a world where short-term success is often celebrated over long-term growth, being someone who consistently shows up and follows through is truly exceptional. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal projects, being reliable tells others that you are dedicated and committed. This level of reliability fosters a deep respect for your character. It means you value your time and the time of others, and you're willing to put in the work necessary to see things through. This not only makes you trustworthy, but commands respect from everyone around you. It creates a sense of safety and stability in relationships. Stability is incredibly attractive. People feel safe with someone they can count on, whether it's a partner, friend, or colleague. Knowing that someone will always show up, follow through, and do what they say they will creates a sense of security. The attractive man provides that stability. He is someone who is dependable, and his consistency brings a sense of calm to those around him. In personal relationships, being consistent means showing up for others, being emotionally available, and keeping your commitments. In professional settings, it means meeting deadlines, being reliable in your work, and maintaining a strong work ethic. In both scenarios, consistency fosters trust and creates an environment where people can thrive and feel secure. It shows you are purpose-driven. The attractive man has a sense of purpose that drives his consistency. His actions are aligned with his values, and he works toward his goals with dedication. This sense of purpose fuels his reliability. When you know what you're working toward and why, it becomes much easier to show up every day, even when things get tough. Being consistent isn't about doing things perfectly. It's about doing them with purpose and intention. It's about showing up with a mindset that everything you do matters. It's about the small, everyday actions that build momentum and ultimately create lasting success. This focused determination is magnetic to others as it communicates drive and self-assurance. How to cultivate consistency and reliability. Set clear goals and priorities. Consistency starts with knowing what you want to achieve. When you have clear goals and priorities, it becomes easier to stay on track. Break your goals into smaller, actionable steps and commit to completing them every day. Be disciplined with your time. Consistency requires time management. Create a schedule, set deadlines, and stick to them. Whether it's work, personal, projects, or relationships, managing your time effectively allows you to maintain a steady pace in everything you do. Hold yourself accountable. Consistency is about keeping promises, even when it's hard. Hold yourself accountable for your actions and decisions. If you say you'll do something, do it. If life gets in the way, communicate and adjust accordingly, but always follow through on your commitments. Stay focused on your values. Reliability comes from being aligned with your values. When your actions reflect your core beliefs, staying consistent becomes much easier. You're not just following through on tasks. You're living according to your principles, which naturally leads to greater reliability. In conclusion, being consistent and reliable is not just a sign of attractiveness, it is a mark of true character. The highly attractive man is someone who shows up day after day, keeps his promises, and earns the trust and respect of those around him. His reliability creates a sense of stability, trust, and safety that others can depend on. And that kind of dependability is magnetic, making him not only attractive but deeply admired. And that's the final truth. The most attractive men don't chase attention. They attract it by becoming men of substance, of self-mastery, of meaning. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply embody the standard and let everything else rise to meet you. If you resonated with even a few of these signs, you're likely walking the path of a deeply attractive man, not just to others, but to yourself. And that's what really matters, because true attractiveness isn't about trying to be seen. It's about being disciplined, being intentional, being rooted in who you are, no matter who's watching. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these signs hit home for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's grow through this together, and if this video sparked something in you, like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the Stoic HQ for more grounded content like this. Remember, real power is silent. Stay grounded, stay focused, stay Stoic.